Hi, this is Ben Ivy, the Fulfillment Artist, and in this video I'm going to teach you where to start to reach high performance. So the first thing that we're going to focus on is learn how to model people. Modeling is incredibly important, and if you haven't heard this term before, let me explain to you what it is. Modeling is where you look at someone that is doing exactly what you want to do and you copy them, you model them, right? They become, that is what I want to be, so I need to create things in myself that is the same, and then I will become that person. So for example, for myself, I model a lot of Tony Robbins, I model a lot of Richard Bandler, I model a lot of Chloe Madans, right? And for yourself, like let's say you want to be a footballer, you wouldn't model the average Joe, right? You model Messi. And you look at these players and you watch them and you start to unconsciously understand. Now there's a story of a girl that was playing, that was watching tennis. She used to watch, I think it was Federer, and she became obsessed. And then when she started playing, she had all the traits of Federer, the way she moved, her backhand, like everything that she did was the same. Now why? Because she watched, she modeled, she understood unconsciously. And that is so important. So when you're starting out and you want to be doing really well, get the people that are the very best and start watching them, start learning from them. And then you will consciously and unconsciously begin to model them. It's like, if you want to be funnier, watch a bunch of comedians live and you'll start to understand what they do. And that's brilliant. So make sure that you understand who you have to model. Next is, after you've learned how to model, then you need to learn from different sources. Now the reason this is important is, to be an expert, you just need to know more than the other person that you're speaking to, right? So when you learn from 3 sources that are experts, you can then cross-reference. Now cross-referencing is incredibly important because it allows you to think in different ways. And this is when people become incredibly good and a master of what they do, because they understand different crafts. So like, if you take someone who is a black belt in karate versus someone that's a black belt in karate and a black belt in jiu-jitsu, for example, that person can cross-reference and understand the different techniques. It's the same when you learn anything in business. Like, you have one consultant telling you this and you grab another one telling you that, and then you can use that to move it forward. Because it's those different perspectives that you need that can help accelerate you to achievement. But once again, making sure that these sources are the best you can, and then learning from them, and making sure that when you learn from them, you don't just learn a little bit, like commit to learning from this person and then commit to learning something else, because otherwise you're just going to dabble in a bunch of different stuff. And that's not what you want. Pick 3, that's key, that's key, that's key, and then master them to then cross-reference after. And it's fascinating when we're in the world today, like people will bring across something from completely different fields. It's like one person from memory will speak to a person from marketing, from accounting, and they will cross-reference different stuff, and that's where we start to generate all these different new ideas. So that's great for achieving, depending on what field that you want to achieve in. Next is deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is incredibly important. Now, have you heard of the 10,000 hour rule, right? Because it's a pile of bollocks. Okay, it's not. There's some truth in it. But if you spend 10,000 hours doing the same thing over and over again, you become better, yeah. But how much better, it depends on deliberate practice. Because for example, let's say you're learning French, and all you do when you're learning French is you're learning simple vocab, and you just do it again and again and again and again for 10,000 hours, you're not going to be any better really at French. But I've done the 10,000 hour rule, doesn't matter. But if you're stretching yourself, if you are in between the sort of comfort zone and what's too far, and you're in this area here, that's deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is working on specifically whatever it is that you think that you're lacking in so much, to then move that forward. And it's that deliberate practice that will really help you move forward. Now, the next thing is break it down. So hand in hand with deliberate practice, you need to break it down and understand that, okay, what are the basics that I need to master? Because it's very easy for us to, let's take an easy one, the gym. Okay? So you see some people in the gym doing the most ridiculous things I think I've ever seen. Like, they've got one arm here, they're doing this, and it's like, and then they're doing like the most complicated exercises you've ever seen to work this tiny little muscle here. And it's so fascinating that it's not about that, it's about the basics. Master the basics. It's just like in any sort of martial art. They will get you to master the basics. But in life, we want to move on so quickly. We're like, no, I need to do this and this and this and this, and then when I've done that, I'll do this and this and this. And that's not what you need to do. You need to master the basics and then move on. Because it's the simple things that happen. It's, football. It's that pass. It's that through ball. It's not always the funky skills, but sometimes we forget about that. And it's easy for us to start moving into that advanced thing when really we need to spend more time on that basics. Next is surround yourself with people that you want to be like. So if you're modeling and doing all these things, now the peer group and the environment you need to be around needs to be the same. So you need to make sure that you surround yourself with those types of people to help you move forward. Because you'll start having conversations about different things. You'll understand their struggles. You can relate. And if these people, once again, are doing better than yourself, that will help you strive to do even more. So that's incredibly important. I really don't want you to forget that your environment will affect you no matter what you do. So you need to prime yourself and understand everything that happens in your environment affects you, whether you're consciously aware or not. Another experiment I'll tell you about. When they did this experiment, they basically had two groups of people and they were to read the same story. But the only difference was half an hour before, someone gave them a cup of cold water, and then half an hour before that, the other group were given a cup of warm water. Now these people read the same story. Now 80% of the people who drank the cold water said that the person at the end, they were cold. No, they weren't very heartfelt. They were distant, and that's just from drinking that cold water. And the 80% here who did the hot water said, oh no, they're very warm character, very caring, very friendly. That is just what a hot drink can do to your environment, let alone the TV, the people you spend time with, their limiting beliefs, what they say. You're affected so much more by your environment than you could possibly imagine. So tailor your environment to what you want. And the final thing is set up the game plan. So now that you've understood this, now, okay, what's my plan of action? What's the game plan moving forward? First thing is this, second thing is this. And have some sort of game plan. Don't just watch this video and go, okay, that's cool. Say, okay, well, what should I do? Let's model this person. And then I'm going to master this, and then I'm going to do that and that. And just get some sort of idea about how you're going to move this forward. Because it's that game plan that you can implement that's going to really help you move forward in life. And if you're really into this, I'd also recommend a book called The Talent Code. It's really fascinating. It talks about why there are certain clumps of brilliant athletes in certain areas and what that has in common. A lot of what I've said in this video has come from it, so you already know a large gist of it. But if you want to know it more in detail and see all the experiments and see everything yourself, then I'd seriously recommend checking it out. And I'll put that in the link below in the description. So have a great day. I'm glad you enjoyed the video, and I'll speak to you soon.